to Week and Geek, your new comics preview for February 22nd. I'm Mike Ortiz.
And I'm the Chris Brown.
So what do you got?
All right, I'm going to kick it off with Chew number 24. This book, I actually had a chance to read this.
Yeah.
Really fun. They introduce yet another food-related ability for a villain they're facing here. Tony Chew's daughter, Olive, she's still working with Savoy, and Tony's still locked up, and kind of interesting, kind of cool. It's kind of sort of an action caper, if you will, in some aspects. And again, they introduce a new ability.
Are they like going to start a Justice League food?
Maybe,
something?
quite possibly, but they're all working in different ways. I like that they just make it a matter of fact in their world. Well, this is what happens. You know, this person can write about food so well you can taste it. This person can, bite you and see where you've been.
Yeah.
This guy can do something different.
Cool.
Then I've got No Place Like Home, number 1, by Angelo Torrado and Richard Jordan. Yet another take on, the Wizard of Oz sort of myth. This is sort of a murder mystery. It's almost like It meets Wizard of Oz is what it's looking like a little bit to me. Like there seems to be a childhood pact, and someone's gone crazy and warning of what might be coming. And
nice artwork.
The art is pretty good.
New image number 1.
Yep, a new image number 1 and something different.
Yeah,
kind of cool. I did get a chance to read this one. Thought it was kind of interesting. I'm curious to see where it's going.
Cool.
Then a book I've really been digging, Razzle number 13. Like Jeff Smith. I really like his cartooning, and this book is just weird and interdimensional, and I don't know what the heck's going on. You know what? This book is sort of, it fills my Jones for Jeff Smith and confuses me as much as the Max used to.
Nice.
And yet I keep coming back the way I used to with the Max.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what the hell's going on, but I love this book. Confuse me some more.
I'm amazed at how many comic books continue when basically most of the people who are reading them don't really know what's going on until the end.
Yes.
But hey, that's comics.
Well, and that's also a testament to just how good Jeff Smith is as a storyteller. If I can read the book, not really know what's going on, but enjoy what it is that has just confused me. And the artwork is phenomenal.
Yeah.
So really like that book. Then we've got All-Star Western, continuing the tale of Jonah Hex in Old Gotham. There's mystery in the Bat Cave. He's fighting a giant bat on the front. It's a shadow of the bat. I am a couple issues behind. I got to get caught up on old Jonah here. But I do like this book. I really liked where it was going. And he fights, he's dabbling around in old Gotham here. So I like that. And then American Vampire by Scott Snyder. I am about 3 issues behind on this. I haven't read any of this 50s story arc, so I've got to get caught up. But I love this book. I really like the characters. I really like Scott Snyder as a writer. I think he tells a great tale. And we got Raphael Albuquerque artwork on here. His stuff is just fantastic.
With a lot of these Vertigo books, it almost helps to get a couple issues deep because they read very well together. So like this,
you read a story arc. So that's probably, what I'll do is I'll probably sit down, hunker down tonight and read 3 issues in a row. Which I'm probably also going to have to do with Aquaman. Aquaman number 6, I'm also about 3 issues behind. But I really liked the first 3 issues. I really like Aquaman. And Aquaman is picking up. I'm noticing I'm selling a lot of... I just had to get a reorder on a bunch of stuff today because completely sold out of nearly everything Aquaman.
Last month, I think, or the January numbers when they came out, Aquaman was a top 10 book.
Oh, no kidding.
Aquaman outsold Spider-Man and every Marvel comic that came out in January. So that's
Aquaman.
That's a testament to the I think the creative team more than anything else being able to take a character that for how long had been considered uncool and make him a top 10 character. That's pretty amazing.
That's what everyone has always said in comic books too, or rather has asked the question, are there bad characters or are there just characters that no one's really properly explored? And Jeff Johns just comes in once again, flexes lapels a little like, hey, I got this, fellas, don't worry about it. And Aquaman's cool again.
Yep.
Then Morning Glories, another book that continuously confuses the heck out of me. But I do like it. It's just got good storytelling. It's Nick Spencer, And I was talking about Nick Spencer a couple weeks ago with the Thief of Thieves, which was a pretty good book. And this is fun. It's confusing, but it's like some kind of a prep school where there's murder mystery going on. Like all the kids seem to have some sort of a checkered past, and the people running the school have a checkered past. It's all very checkered.
A lot of checkers.
Indeed. Secret Avengers. This book's been pretty good. You got Rick Remender, Gabriel Hardman. You cannot go wrong with that creative team.
That's a good creative team.
This artwork is just freaking fantastic. I really like Gabriel Hardman's stuff a lot. He was doing an awesome job on that Planet of the Apes.
Planet of the Apes and the Hulk prior to that.
Yeah, just fun stuff. And Rick Remender tells big, fun, wacky superhero stories. Yeah. And he's got Venom in here. So imagine that. He's going to squeeze his other character in.
Well, if there's Spider-Man's a regular Avenger, I guess Venom can be a secret Avenger.
Why not?
Every Avenger team's got to have a Spider-Man.
That's sort of their espionage team.
And Spider-Woman also.
Yeah.
So there's a spider on every team.
Yeah, well, that's kind of weird. Well, yeah. Wolverine can be on every team. There can be a spider on every team because Spider doesn't have the multiple man powers like Wolverine does. Then Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #7. This has been a cool book. Really, really dig it. It's a completely different take on the Ninja Turtles. However, there are similarities. They work in all of the things from the Turtles you remember in the past, but it's a bit different.
Yeah.
I think we just got finished with the previous story arc and all that stuff with Old Hob, and now we're gonna explore some other things here. Again, an issue or two behind. I finally got caught up on a couple things though, and I can talk about some of those things where they're in your stack. So then we finally got, I think this is part 4 of Archie Meets Kiss.
Yeah.
This is Archie number 630. I'm finally going to sit down and read these. I'm curious to see, and literally I've been making jokes about Kiss meets Phantom of the Park, and they're at a carnival.
Uh-oh.
So who knows, that's probably totally going to happen. There's a guy dressed like Nerdy Frankenstein. Yeah, I'm going to sit down and read all 4 of these. I think it's going to be kind of fun.
It should be.
And that is my stack. What are you looking at?
I'm starting off with Captain America and Bucky 627. This is continuing. Originally this book was the World War II exploits of Bucky. Now this is set in the present, but it's dealing with the Bucky who was Bucky after Bucky Barnes died.
Okay.
One of the kind of in between Buckys, probably the one prior to the evil Cap and Bucky from the 50s that were commie smashers. This also ties in with a storyline from the old Invader series, where the guy who created the original the Golden Age Human Torch, the android, created another android called Adam 2, and then the next version of that, Adam 3, is now the villain in this. So it ties back to really some obscure old Avenger stories, plus some old kind of late war, early 50s stories. Asmus and Brubaker are really kind of reaching deep into the well for inspiration on this one, with some absolutely fantastic art by Francisco Francavilla. He always delivers great looking, great color. It has a very good mood and fits the time period. We're kind of a retro look to it. Next up is the Mighty Thor. This is continuing the Matt Fraction book. Thor was killed during Fear Itself,
yes,
but was not entirely dead. He was off in some, dead
can't
god
kill the gods, as they've said.
Yeah, and Tannerus had who was Ulic the Troll, had sort of popped up to take his place. Thor was off with a bunch of other gods, unable to remember his name and things like that.
Okay.
Last issue, Mjolnir activates, flies up. Thor remembers who he is, and now he's gonna kick some ass. So we're seeing the wrap up of the Tannerus storyline. I think next issue actually Thor and Tannerus fight it out. But we're getting back on track. We've got Troll King, the Norn Queen. Again, Fraction is jumping back and using a lot of the classic Thor mythology, sort of reinventing it along the way.
All right, fun.
We've got Ultimate Spider-Man, #7. This has been a really good book. I'm really, really pleased. It has a very different feel, even though it's still Bendis. A very different feel from the Peter Parker Ultimate Spider-Man. I think they've done a really good job of
it should have a different feel.
Yeah, it's very, very it's a much more grounded book, a much more kind of realistic book in terms of its tone, just a really interesting. It's a way for them to kind of introduce legacy characters into Marvel without really affecting the Marvel universe at all, because this is a separate world. Great artwork by Chris Samnee in this issue and in last issue. They're rotating some pretty killer artists on this book. Definitely still ties into the bigger story that all of the Ultimates books sort of feed into. I mean, it really is a very tight shared universe. But you don't need to read any of the other stuff to really understand what's going on. It's actually a pretty tight book.
Okay.
Next up, Uncanny X-Force. X-Force in Otherworld with Captain Britain. Captain Britain gets around a lot. He's in the Avengers, Secret Avengers, and now he's in X-Force.
And there was just the Ultimate Captain Britain, wasn't there?
So Captain Britain is back, baby.
Featuring a renaissance of Captain Britain.
So again, they're in Otherworld, the multi-dimensional thing. I'm not a big follower of Captain Britain, so I'm not that familiar with some of this stuff.
Nor am I.
But there is an invasion of sorts going on in Otherworld. Otherworld had captured Psylocke because she is related. She's the sister of Captain Britain. And also, I believe, Phantom X for crimes against the multiverse or whatever. So X-Force isn't too happy about a couple of their members getting abducted. So they rush in to save the day and find out that they're stuck in the middle of a war and have to help out to get what they want back. Because they don't really care who wins the war. They just want their team members back.
Absolutely.
Got some more X stuff going on. We got Wolverine and the X-Men. We found out last issue that Kitty Pryde was not pregnant.
Phantom pregnancy?
No, she actually just had a bunch of brood inside her.
Oh, yikes!
So yeah, that was kind of scary. So we've got a couple of storylines going on. Kitty Pryde and actually Microscopic Brood. Last issue we had a tour of the mutant body that the Beast conducted. So we've got the Brood going on while Wolverine is trying to raise money for the school, because now that Warren Worthington is a mind-wiped child, he no longer controls Worthington Industries, and they cut off their funding. So two kind of strange storylines going on. Very traditional X-Men Brood storyline, and then Wolverine having to deal with finances. Very, very strange take, but Jason Aaron's still making it a very fun book and a very weird book.
I'm surprised that that story didn't end up as like an X-Men TV show.
Wolverine trying to raise cash for the school. And wearing a tuxedo.
And then they have a bake sale.
Well, it looks like he's going to be gambling, which is a great way to raise money. If you need money quickly,
go to the casino.
Head out to the casino, and all your problems will be taken care of.
They're giving money away over there here.
Next up, Superman. This has honestly been a bit of a disappointment. Of the books that launched out of the New 52, this one stumbled. I think coming out of the gate, at least in relation to some of the other books. It's not a bad book. It's a very kind of solid traditional superhero stuff, but I think, with everything restarting, they might have wanted to launch with something a little bit more interesting, exciting. Next issue, the new creative team takes over because DC obviously realized that there were some problems here. So for the most part right now, I'm just getting it to see the story play out and hopefully see some new life injected into it with Keith Giffen and Dan Jurgens. Both veterans. Dan Jurgens certainly, he drew the death of Superman, so he knows the character, did it for a long time. So let's hope that kind of kicks a little bit more life into this book, because it's not bad, but not as good as Action or some of the other
Action's been
books.
solid.
And you look at things like Aquaman, Green Lantern, all these books that got a new shot in the arm with the New 52. This was one that the shot didn't take, but maybe next month. Next up, I, Vampire. This has been a pretty solid book. Last issue, we've got the tie-in to the DC Universe. The vampires are in Gotham. We got Batman running around. So you got Batman and the good guy vampires teaming up to take on the bad guy vampires. This has actually been some fun stuff with some great artwork.
Cool.
It's dark superhero stuff. Really, this book feels very in line with books like Animal Man and Swamp Thing that we've praised many times in the past. And in the last issue, there was a great line when the vampire looks over at Batman and just says, "Nice cape." I, Vampire, one of the surprises out of the New 52. Another good book coming out of New 52 is Green Lantern New Guardians. Again, this is the Green Lantern book that only has one Green Lantern and a bunch of other lanterns.
Okay.
We've got a new villain. We're finding out who stole the rings. Larfleeze was tied into it. But it's just a good, big, cosmic adventure. Not quite as the core book is the more cop book, the tougher book, the military book. The regular Green Lantern book's the superhero book. Red Lanterns is kind of a darker book, and then this one's just kind of a more unusual. Just doesn't. It's hard to describe this book. Doesn't quite fit with the other ones. But it's Kyle Rayner, who I love, and it's a team up. This is where you're going to get your blue lanterns, your yellow lanterns, and all the other lanterns. So a good addition to the Green Lantern mythology. Next up is Flash. The first story arc didn't really thrill me that much, mostly because I was not particularly interested in the villain that they introduced.
Okay.
Francis Manapul is doing a fantastic job on the artwork, and here we get the Rogues Gallery makes its new 52 appearance with the updated Captain Cold. So now that we're kind of back, we're back to the classic villains that really the Flash. I think his Rogues Gallery is maybe second or third best in all of comics after maybe Batman and Spider-Man.
Yeah.
But now we're getting the Flash villains that we know and love, not the new villains. Nobody wants new villains. Let's just accept that now.
Exactly. We want you can fight an occasional new villain, but you want them punching the classics.
When you have one of the best Rogues Galleries in all of comics, use them. We don't need mob rule.
You know what? Comics, for the most part, yes, we want them to evolve and we want to see where these things go. But it's also comfort food. When I'm sick, I want chicken noodle soup.
Yeah.
I don't want you throwing some new crafty thing at me. I know chicken noodle soup works.
Right. If you're reading The Flash, odds are you want to read the things that make The Flash The Flash.
Yes.
Anyway, so hopefully this will be
it looks cool.
A more interesting story than before because it's got Cold's one of my favorite Flash villains. And the artwork on this has just been phenomenal. So let's see where the Flash goes here. And that's my stack.
Stack, all right, which I guess brings me to the top of my stack here, which was sort of an unusual one for me. You were sort of surprised by this. My top pick is Dark Horse Presents issue number 9. We've got the reason I picked this one, we've got a Lobster Johnson story in this one. And it's drawn by Joe Quirio, who is a local guy.
Yeah.
A local guy who was actually discovered on DeviantArt, of all things. People started talking about his art and how he should be the successor to do the Lobster Johnson, and lo and behold, he's doing Lobster Johnson. The artwork looks really, really fantastic. I read the story. It's fun. You know, I don't read a lot of BPRD stuff or Lobster Johnson, but I read this and was like, oh, awesome. I really like that. It was cool. The artwork for Joe's first real big professional gig knocks it out of the park.
Nice.
Looks freaking awesome. So that is my top pick. You should check out Dark Horse Presents. Not only is it fun, and there are other great stories in there, I'm sure, but I was...
was there some Paul Pope in there? Some
there
Richard
probably.
Corbin?
What do we got here? Yeah, we got a Brian Wood story. We've got some Richard Corbin. I don't see any Paul Pope.
Maybe I was wrong.
Not this time around. But yeah, lots of good stuff in there as always. But Joe Quirio.
Nice. Well, my top is kind of a standby on this show. It's Fantastic Four, number 603. This is we're getting. We got to the part where we have Fantastic Four, we've got Galactus, we've got the Inhumans, we've got the Kree, we've got the Annihilation Wave, we've got Back from the Dead Johnny Storm. This is
the kids are working with Doom.
Yeah,
and
the kids are over in FF,
and
then the storyline with FF.
Yeah, but they're crossing over. It's all crossing over because then you've got the Celestials have arrived.
Celestials.
And that's what Valeria was working on with Nathaniel.
Right.
All of that stuff. They knew that was about to happen. So it's all sort of colliding together.
All this big cosmic stuff that Hickman has been laying the groundwork for here and in other books.
This would be the most intense movie ever. This would be like a big, huge, ridiculous sci-fi epic.
So you've got the Annihilation Wave, you've got Galactus, you've got Celestials, you've got the Kree, you've got the Inhumans. I mean, there's Doctor Doom. there's not a lot missing from this Fantastic Four pot. You have to wonder, what are they going to follow this up with?
And I think even in one of the issues, they mentioned something about the Herbie home system. It's all in there, all of it. Herbie and Kristoff and
great stuff.
Oh, so fun.
Nathaniel Richards, which there's even some references and some tie-ins to the Shield series.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, really, all of this stuff.
That's a great issue. He's bringing things to a head, like all of the things that he's been working on for several years
now.
Yeah.
And this has really turned out to be a very, very long and strong and consistent run on the FF. And kudos to Hickman for pulling this off.
Oh yeah.
And, that's my top pick.
Right on. Well, with that is your Week in Geek.